Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We hope that each and every one of you had a good break at luncheon. Let me take this time to remind you to kindly switch off your mobile phones or put it on silent mode. Welcome to the special session, Improving Upstream Productivity Through Integration of Industry 4.0 and Society 5.0. And for this session, I would like to invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk Karim Abdullah, Group Chief Executive Officer of Serba Dinamik Holdings Berhad, to the stage to share an insight on the technology and innovation in our industry.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. Firstly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizer for inviting me to deliver a talk on the topics of improving upstream productivity through the integrations of Industry Revolution 4.0 and Society 5.0. I think I would like to start the presentation with some facts, which I strongly believe a lot of you is aware and is also well informed of this information. Number one, oil price is expected to be in the range of 65 to 75 US dollar per barrel range. Unfortunately, today it is around 63 US dollar per barrel. But whatever that, I think as a general guide, a lot of analysts is putting that it will be in the range of 65 to 75. Point number two, the world is showing sign of recessions. And this is based on quite a number of supporting theory and also experience globally. Number one, the 10 years cycle of economic recessions states that economy cannot be always in a bullish kind of situation. It will heat up and the curve will go down, and that is where the recessions or the downturn of economy will happen. So if we rightfully remember back, in year 2008 is where it started the previous round of downturn. So we are heading towards 2019, which basically touch into the 10 years of the cycle theory. And if we look around of what is going on at the moment, it quite strongly support these statements that the world is showing a sign of recession. Number one, the trade war is ongoing. There is no sign that this economic giant of the world is going to talk and try to work out solutions at the moment. We can see a lot of other things which is going on. So point number three, the facts shows that far-right groups seek to be a dominant force globally. So this is very much linked up to political situation that is going across the entire globe internationally. So what does this mean? This means that there will be a tussle between the people who promote globalization and people who want to conserve and protect their own economy. So at the end of the day, these two forces will come in to complicate the entire situation, and it will affect the cycle of the business globally and also domestic in the respective country. So why do I raise out this point? Because there are effects that is going to be shown based on this situation. Number one, when the oil price drops, I will say that all the asset owner, whether it is Petronas, Shell, ExxonMobil, and its likes, they will go for effort to look at the issue of productivity. So what does productivity means? It means improve of efficiency. So when we talk about the improve of efficiency, there must be tools and methods to be used. Yeah? Besides the very popular approach of looking at optimizations of organization or the resources of the people. Yeah? So that's where we see the first effect of all this downturn of economy, and also the oil price drops contributed to removal of all those high level salaried people within the organizational structure of all these asset owner. So when people talk about productivity, then there is technology that will comes in to play this role to ensure that productivity is something which is achievable. So when people talk about productivity, then it comes into different methods, different techniques, and of course very much tied up to the technology itself. And very popularly known at the moment is what we call Industry Revolution 4.0. And I added in Society 5.0 will play an important role. So I heard commotions around saying that why we never heard about Society 5.0, why it is been brought out in this presentation. Because if we look at all these high developed countries who move the entire world towards technology, is either United States of America, is either from European countries, and UK, because of the Brexit, so it has to be a separate entity at the moment. And of course, the Japanese also plays a very vital, important role in this aspect. So Society 5.0 is something which is being introduced by the Japanese technologies. So if we look at Industry 4.0, a very fast one, I believe that quite a number of you here are quite known and is well-versed with what Industry 4.0 is all about. It has 9 pillars, just to go through quickly. And I would like to say here that, or highlight here that, those which are relevant in these discussions or tying up to the increase of productivity for upstream activity will be on the component or the pillars related to autonomous robots. Internet of Things, of course, will play the role because it's the element that extract and take the data, retrieve the data, and the data goes into what they call it as a big data, and there will be data analytics, how to analyze this big data. And of course, very much related to the big data will be the cloud computing. Because with this big data, how are you going to conserve and save all this information? So the cloud technology will come in to conserve all this big data. And if you have big data, but it can be hacked easily, it's not going to help the owner or the user of this technology. So there is cyber security will come in. Blockchain can be one of the things that can come in to help a lot in terms of this cyber security. And I would like also to take this opportunity in the presentations today, how the augmented reality plays a role in helping to increase the productivity of the productions of respective assets. A little bit background about Society 5.0, as what has been elaborated or point up there, is a human-centered society that balances economic advancements with the resolutions of social problems by a system that highly integrates cyberspace and physical space. And bullet point number 2, it is a science and technology basic plan. Yeah? So if you look at this particular chart over here, it actually summarize out how it started. Society 1.0, same like what happened in Germany or in Europe. They use Industrial Revolution 1.0, 2, 3, 4. And people is now talking about Industry Revolution 5.0. But in the context of Malaysia, we are still at the process of trying to build the awareness, trying to understand Industry 4.0, and the government has come up with a policy of Industry 4.0 recently, and we are trying to adopt and practice and also use this technology to improve the efficiency and also very much back to the productivity of the respective asset. So I just want to quickly touch one very important point. Why I brought in Society 5.0? Because in Society 5.0, there is the element of human, the interactions or human relationship or human factor comes in. Because when you go through the entire process later on, all this Industry 4.0 is very much towards machine-oriented kind of function already. So when we talk about machines, there is no feeling. To a certain extent, it's very good, because if human beings, they are controlled by their emotion. For example, like one day you have a big quarrel with your husband or the wife, you come to the office, you have very low productivity because you are very emotional during that day. But machines does not have this emotion. But at the end of the day, if everything does not have any feeling and emotion, it's also very dangerous. So that is where we will try to see why in the Society 5.0, the human or the component related to human being is important. And I will say that if you look at Industry 5.0, it's also talking about interactions between all those machines creation that has been adopted into the system to improve the productivity of the asset. But however, we have not heard about Industry 5.0. There are some write-up done philosophy on that, and very soon I will believe that it will be going out into the public in a big way. But in Japan, Industry 5.0 is something which is very normal and it has been discussed. Now, how do we want to use all this technology to relate it to integrations between Industry 4.0 and Society 5.0 to improve the productivity of the upstream operations? That is our core discussion and focus today. We would like to look at the supply chain management. If we look at the upstream, the supply chain management have a few components there. You have manufacturing, you have suppliers, you have raw material, and then the retail location, you have the distributions, and you have also the customer. So if you look from the reality, we will have a warehouse which is normally located onshore. And then in the context of Malaysia, a lot of all these productions are offshore. So the main task will start when the materials or equipment that has been sent over by the supplier to the warehouse, and from the warehouse you need to lock it in, the data, information, and so on, and after that distribute it or send it out to the offshore operational platform. So it is suggested that an innovative way how we can improve productivity, because if the materials and other managements of resources from the supplier, the contractor, is being messed up, and this is a reality that a lot of asset owners are facing. Some of the equipment that comes back to onshore, been sent out to the contractor for the repair, database are not proper, and when there is a change of guard, meaning to say that change of officers and so on, they even cannot track where the equipment is located. So this is just an example. And time has been spent to locate where these things is actually at. And at the end of the day, it's talking about a lot of loss of productive timing. So it is suggested that RFID, which stands for Radio Frequency Identification Technology, will be a more effective way to help to resolve all these problems. I know that, and we know that, a lot of asset owners are using barcoding technology. But let's make a comparison between the barcoding and also RFID technology. In RFID technology, it's definitely much more better in terms of time consumption. Because you will have the RFID tag, which lists out what is the items in that particular block or locations. And you will have also the RFID reader, which will read and helps you to locate it. But more importantly is, all these informations are controlled and distributed and connected at one source of center. So meaning to say that you can log into your PC or your laptop or even your mobile phone, and you'll be able to track and get the information that is required. It also helps a lot of issues related to leakages. Leakages here means that the items has arrived, but it has been misplaced, or it has been taken by some unwanted or unethical people. But if you have this RFID system in place, it will not be able to have all these kind of leakages. Because you can detect, and it can also give you the alarm to show that where the item is actually going to. And I strongly believe that some of you undergo all this RFID technology, even for your daily presence in the office and so on. And there is one joke that came out, that they can even detect where you are going, even into the toilet. So, but all those, that's the thing which the technology can do. But at the end of the day, you have to come up with your own standard operating procedure, how to overcome unwanted kind of situation, for example, like personal privacy and so on. That can be done, and of course, we do not need to discuss on here. The other thing that I would like to raise out here is, when we talk about Industry 4.0, we touch on a few things, which is talking about autonomous robots. We are talking about Internet of Things, and then we are talking about big data and data analytics. And all these things are relevant, how to link it out to the productivity. Yeah? And I just have a few video here just to generate the interest and also the overview that the robots of today and drones of today are not of those days when it is the technology is still very backward. Yeah? So just the first one. Let's go to the video on the drones. This is basically one of the outlook, but of course there are more sophisticated drones which are being developed at the moment. Yeah? This is just to give you an example and indications to show that drones are used as for logistic carrying materials and so on from one location to the other locations. There are applications in some other place where it is used to carry materials and other related things from onshore to the production platform. Yeah? And that will help to overcome and speed up the process of delivery. Next. This shows that drone today can undergo a water-proof kind of environment.
Yeah, let's try and steer it around the water a little bit, like a boat.
Okay, this might not be the best shot which I'm showing here, but again, the main objective here is people is moving towards to develop that this drone will even come to play the role as good as the ROV. Yeah? And of course, in other applications for scanning of equipment, inspection, very high tower, you does not need again to really climb up, which will take a lot of times in terms of scaffolding erections, in terms of the safety and the safety of the people, which is going up at that height level. Next video, please. This is some of the drones for the warehousing management. Okay, next please.
No, you're the one who called her a freak.
I'm about to ask Sophia a question. What's the best thing about the UK compared to America, Sophia?
I love your posh English accent. It really has a nice ring.
Now, I have to make clear that I didn't come up with this question, but, so this is really odd. But I have to ask now.
I'll ask it. Are you single?
I'm technically just a little more than a year old. A bit young to worry about romance.
Quite right.
Look at the smile!
With a little wink.
God, this is freaking me out.
So can you describe your ideal partner?
My ideal partner is a super wise, compassionate, super genius.
Okay.
Ideally, self-aware.
Yeah.
Okay, well that sounds very,
I'm with
very,
you on that.
very
I'm with you
close
on
to
that.
home to me. How would you handle a very confident man who likes the sound of his own voice?
I would ask him to focus on observing and listening, more than talking.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sophia, and if you look at the history of Sophia, she started off with very basic knowledge and information. But the designer or the architecture behind this is she has been going through a lot of sessions, even economic forum, security conference, and so on and so forth. So what happened is the CPU that they inserted in all this data keep on improving. So when all these data are there, then any informations that has been moved forward to this Sophia, she can understand and she retrieve. The fundamentals comparison is something like, as human being, you have your brain, and your brain has to be activated and has to be exposed with a lot of different data. That is where, when the education process from young to old, from primary to tertiary and so on, more informations and formulas and so on are being put into your brain as a central processing unit. Similarly, like these robots of today, is heading towards a highly smart intelligence kind of so-called human being without soul and feeling. So what I'm trying to say here is, this is the world that we are heading towards. A lot of countries is having difficulty in getting work permits for foreign workers. If the robots industry really move fast enough and competitive enough and cheap enough, we strongly believe that it can be a replacement for the lack of labors that is required in years to come. So technology is developing very fast. And all these things will help in terms of helping to improve the productivity. Like what I mentioned just now, robots, whatever you instruct them to do, they will do. They don't have any feeling, they don't have thoughts of how to play politics in the office and so on. So the productivity is very much assured, and it's a worth investment for asset owner to put into it. Let's see at another pillars within the industry 4.0, meets reality.
Oh, it says here there is a significant drop in pressure in this turbine.
Yeah, I could see that in this multi-display control panel over there. Well, I think we need to check some components. I think we need to check out the rotor. Let me take it out.
Huh.
Yeah, it could be due to some blade deposits on these rotor blades over here, or it could be due to a leak in this control valve. I think we need to check these components, Lina.
Yeah, I think we should actually call our technical specialist in Qatar. Maybe he can review the situation and he can tell us what is wrong with this.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good idea. Let's give him a call.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there's just a very short cut out of the mixed reality. What it means here is there is already available in the market what we call HoloLens. Yeah? HoloLens has the ability to receive or accept data which is a combination of visual reality and also augmented reality. So again, what is visual reality? What is augmented reality? I think we need to go through a course for this. But whatever it is, HoloLens is able to accept data which are in the form of mixed reality. And if you look at what the products availability in the market, you will have the cloud computing. A lot of people has the cloud computing. That's not difficult. But the HoloLens at the moment is only is by Microsoft. And how does this relate to each other is the digital information that is created onto the respective equipments has to be simulated, integrated in a format where it can be inserted or put it into the cloud computing. And the HoloLens will basically extract those information, and you can see those digital form of the equipments or human beings or whatever is it that you want to create. Then from there, your colleagues, which is in other part of the world, can also pull that information and data from the cloud computing. So as a result of it, it will be very useful for asset owner who wants to troubleshoot equipment failure problems with the manufacturer. That is one aspect of it. It can also be used for you to train your other colleagues in other parts of the world. So in a way, it saves a lot of cost. The first aspect just now, you avoid a lot of waiting time for the specialists to come in to your place to help you in the troubleshootings of the failure. In the second case, all these trainings and so on, it can be done between OEM and also the asset owner, the equipment owner, between the equipment owner from one department to the other departments and so on and so forth. So these are tying up to productivity because it helps you to reduce down the lead time for all those experts who come in to solve the particular problems. And if you look at it from the aspect of the production, one day loss of productions for a particular platform, it costs millions, especially when the oil price is at 55, 65, 80 US dollar per barrel. So all these things are technology that is available in the market at the moment, moving towards improvement day after day, so that it can be very competitive and commercially available to all the potential users internationally. So in the industry, in Society 5.0, if we look at it, the end results is, this is a Japanese version. They want to achieve a hyper-smart society. Why Japan is moving that fast? Because Japan and also China, if you look at it, they are heading towards the aging community. You can see, if you go to Japan, you can see a lot of aged community, which a lot of them is already been left behind by their daughters, by their son, and so on, because they are also very busy with their career and so on and so forth. So what is there for all this aged community in terms of helping hand to them in their day-to-day life? Yeah? So that is where Society 5.0 comes in with all this technology, the autonomous robots and other things related to that. If we have a special session, we can discuss on how the applications is being done. It will be very interesting. And in the announcement of Malaysia, when it launched Industry Revolution 4.0, one of the statements released out by MITI is by the year 2030 or 2035, a lot of the Malaysian people will reach the age of 60 to 80 years old. So that is defined as already a aging community. But of course, a lot of you will not accept that fact because you are referencing it to the age of 93 at the moment. So whatever it, this technology is coming in also to help the aging community because they have been left behind, and to certain extent they are also still contributing to the economy of the respective country, but they need some helping hand. So this is where the autonomous robots and other things related to it is required. And I would like to also point very important thing before I close up the session because it's almost time already. In the process of identifying and troubleshooting of equipment efficiency, it's very important that a technology must have a predictive capability. So that is where AI comes in. Artificial intelligence, as some scientists elaborate it, it can be in form of software and it can be in form of hardware. So when talk about software, this is where artificial intelligence comes in terms of algorithm, in terms of other process data, and put it in a hard box. Normally people just say it as a black box. Yeah? And you be very anxious to ask all these people, what is inside the black box? They will never want to reveal it to you because there is a trade secrets, and if everybody knows about it, that's the end of their business. But the very much relevant comparison is when you come to the evolutions of people using calculator. Calculator is something you just put in the numbers, it will compute and give you the answer. Why? There is algorithm that has already been inserted into the CPU of the calculator. So it's the same thing as this black box. It has the algorithm, it has other process informations and other formulations that has been put inside there. And if you look at all the tertiary institutions like university, 4th year, 5th year, they will have all this kind of tasks, and that is where actually they produce a lot of algorithms and so on, which are available, which the industrial practitioner can tap onto it and collaborate with them and come up with your own black box. And I would say that people is going through this process, and it helps to troubleshoot the problems much faster than using the normal conventional method. Yeah? I will not have the time to basically show the evidence and so on, but the statements that I mentioned, I do have evidence to prove the success of all this AI capability as the predictive tools to help you to ensure that you will not have an unplanned shutdown of your asset. That means it will help you to improve your productivity of the upstream operations. So I think these are going into a bit more detail of the predictive mechanism. And I would like to make a conclusion here that we are at the destinations or the milestone of Industry 4.0. And like what I mentioned, between 4.0, we also have 3.0, which is the one before this. And everybody knows that one of the pillars or the important component inside the Industrial Revolution 3.0 is the digitalizations and also the automations. So you need to have this digital capability before we really embark onto IR 4.0. That's why quite a lot of you has gone through that digital process and now undergoing the applications of Industrial 4.0. But in our thoughts and in our think tank within my organization, Serba Dinamik, we believe that we have moved quickly to tap onto the component of Society 5.0 because as machine intelligence get improved, there will be no if there is no interactions between machine to machine, yeah, then it's going to cause further disruption. So Industry 5.0, Society 5.0 is looking at the communications between machine and also improve communication between human being and also the machine itself. Yeah. So all those movies that you have seen, the rise of the machines and so on, it comes from a thought or a dream or something which is creative, but human beings, scientists take up all those aspiration and intention and put it into reality. Yeah? And if you look at some of the movies that you have seen also is talking about to avoid all this traffic jam and so on, people is looking at the second layer of gravity. So meaning to say that there will be a vehicle that can move on top of the existing traffic lane. And if you look at this, the scientists and so on, and even it is tested now in the desert areas of using drone as a replacement of these capabilities and the objective and intention of this. So as a conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express a segment and also a statement saying that the world is changing and the technology available will move us to a different evolutions of experience and so on. If we do not adapt ourselves, we will be left behind. And at the end of the day, we will not be able to cope to lead the world. Yeah? And I strongly believe every one of us here do have the intentions to become leader in our respective areas. And in the perspective of the productivity of the assets, Industrial Revolution 4.0, going forward 5.0 will be relevant, and it has to be looked into a very serious manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Karim, for this special session. Kindly return to your seat and we shall proceed with the next part of the program.